Hey, Oddballs, welcome back to the Jersey Oddcast. This week is another special episode. We're going deep into one of the most meaningful traditions in South Jersey, the 150th Feast of Our Lady of Mount Carmel, right here in Hammonton. We sit down with Lou Pantalone, president of the Mount Carmel Society, to talk about what it takes to carry a legacy like this through generations. From faith to fireworks, drone shows to sausage and peppers, and yes, even the running of the sandwiches. If you've been part of the feast, whether in the procession or just grabbing a bite at a stand, this episode will feel like coming home. Let's get into it. This is the Jersey Oddcast with Joseph F. Berenato, Gabriel J. Donio, and me, Gina Rullo. Guys, we are less than a week away from the feast. Are you excited?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I can almost taste the sandwiches right now, and it's going to take everything that I am not to participate in the running of the sandwiches because I'm that hungry and just chase one down and start nibbling on it. I realize I'll probably be arrested, so I won't do that.
Swiftly.
But yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
How many
But
sandwiches will you say you eat feast week?
Mm.
oh heavens. Well, I go every night and I get at least one sandwich per night. So at least seven. I probably end up getting two on the 16th of July. I may end up getting two on the last day because it's not coming around again. So we'll say anywhere, probably close to a dozen. Let's go with that.
If he stayed at seven, we could now name it Joe's Feast of Seven Sandwiches.
Are you
How
going to
great
do a
would
late
that be?
night sandwich like Nikki LaGuardia talked to us about last time?
Oh, yeah. At the Suns. You could grab one on the way out.
Oh, that's gonna put a hurt on my wallet and my waistline, but I don't see how I could say no to that. I really don't.
We're going to put Joe's
Right.
Venmo here, so if you want to help keep him in sandwiches, we'll just put a little thing at the bottom of the screen. Just kidding.
No.
Well, before we get into Mount Carmel and all that's good that's coming up, Joe, you were at the June 30th council meeting. Can you give us a little rundown of what happened?
Absolutely. I go every month. It's my entertainment.
Or
Make of
your
that
penance and
Yeah.
your.
eh, either way, make of that what you will. But at the
Give
council
us the
meeting,
news. Give us the news, Joe.
no good news is good news. Anywho,
Thank you, Gary.
at the council meeting on the 30th, which was postponed a week, the mayor is out of town, but he participated by phone. So Councilman Tom Gribben, the town's deputy mayor, presided over the meeting. And during the meeting, Patrolman Ty Shabelia and Hammonton Police recruit Matthew Lawler were both sworn in by Gribben. Councilman Jonathan Oliva presented proclamations to Parks and Rec employees Bill Denninger and Eric Knight for helping the gentleman who had fallen out of a canoe on Hammonton Lake, and both the Our Lady of Mount Carmel Society and the Order Sons of Italy, Giuseppe Garibaldi Lodge 1658, were presented with proclamations for their years of service to the town of Hammonton. Also during the meeting, Tiffany Morrissey, the town's affordable housing consultant and planner, gave a brief presentation about the town's fourth round spending plan. June 30th by midnight was the deadline to be in compliance with state regulations. The fair share housing element, previously approved by the Hammonton Planning Board, was officially endorsed, which addresses the total affordable housing obligations from 1987 through 2035. According to Morrissey, affordable housing impact or development fees are collected both from residential and non residential development, which fund housing activities in the element. Morrissey said that the associated spending plan shows how the money will be utilized and provides projections through 2035. Currently, she said, there is a balance of $192,000 in the trust, and she said that an additional $960,000 was projected over the next decade. Also during the meeting, Council adopted an ordinance to exceed the municipal budget appropriations and establish a cap bank, and passed a resolution to adopt the 2025 municipal budget. Additionally, Council adopted an ordinance to adopt the modified redevelopment plan for the former landfill, which allows the solar contractor to expand their proposed array, and they also passed a resolution to seek grant funding for improvements to West End Avenue. It's all the news that fit to print there.
It sounds like a lot. It's a good amount of stuff happening at a end of June council meeting, end of the quarter.
Yeah, yeah, it was a bit busy. I'd say probably fully the first 45 minutes were his presentations and so forth, but once they got down to the business of the meeting, they got down to some business.
I think the affordable housing component in the wake of what we've been talking about off and on for months about projects throughout town, including the White Horse Pike and elsewhere, West End. It's important for people to know uh, the two things do go together. There may not be all affordable housing in these new apartment complexes or townhomes, but they do go together,
Yeah.
and there is a relationship. So I think it's good that we're continuing to point that up, that the council is discussing these things, and we'll keep an eye on it.
Yeah, and if I'm not mistaken, it's by state mandate that every new development must have a certain percentage that is classified as affordable housing, or as is the case with Pleasant Street Station, everything they're doing over at West End, they're making a deposit into the town's affordable housing trust in lieu of having affordable housing units over there.
Yeah, and Joe, am I right? That's what they were discussing with the dollar amounts that they were saying in the council meeting, that they were talking about the account there, and that money that's being deposited is part of that.
It is part
I,
of that, yes.
right,
Yeah,
okay.
it's part of that projected 960,000. Yeah.
In other news, we want to take a moment and remember Margaret A. Peg Ingemy, who passed away peacefully on June 28th at the age of 84, surrounded by her loving family. Born and raised in Hammonton, Peggy Ingemy made her home in Folsom's Penny Pot. She graduated from Hammonton High School in 1958 and Glassboro State College in 1962, going on to teach in Hammonton schools for over 45 years. She later became a certified school social worker and served her community in remarkable ways, mediating in the Atlantic County court system, tutoring at the county jail, volunteering with the literacy program, Mothers Against Drunk Driving, and the Amputee Coalition. She also helped run her family's business, the Pinecrest Motel and Restaurant, and served a remarkable 21 years on the Folsom Board of Education, 9 of them as president. She was predeceased by her parents, Ralph and Vera Porter, and her son, J.R. Ingemy. Peg is survived by her former spouse and dear companion, Joseph Ingemy, her children, Michael A. Ingemy, and Robert Gonzo Ingemy, and his wife, Dina, her sister, Virginia Curlis, and her husband, Greg, 4 grandchildren, Kaya, Haley, Joseph, and Reed, and her nephew, John Curlis, and his partner, Jess, along with her loyal cat, Oreo. Services will be private as she requested. Donations may be made in Peg's memory to the Folsom Education Foundation or the Amputee Coalition. She lived fearlessly. If you're looking for an example of resilience or someone who beat the odds again and again, Peg was it. From all of us at the Jersey Oddcast, our hearts are with the Ingemy family.
Yeah, our hearts go out to the Ingemy and Porter families. And speaking for the Frank and Angela Donio family, my folks all went to school. Both went to school with Joe at St. Joseph's, class of '56, St. Joseph's High School. And Peggy came along, it was class of a couple years before that, I believe, at Hammonton High School. They all knew each other. They had 3 children, as you said, 3 boys, and my mom and dad, we had 4. She knew me my entire life. And to me, she was Aunt Peggy and Uncle Joe. And her sons and his sons were like cousins to us, first cousins to us. They were not actual first cousins, but they sure were like that. And we knew them so well. Went to Ocean City together a lot, went skiing a lot, went over to the Pinecrest a lot, each other's houses. New Year's, I remember a lot of New Year's together growing up. It's a big loss from the standpoint of her contributions to the community. Unbelievable. And to Folsom specifically, unbelievable. She was extremely loyal to the community. And to this, as a newspaper person, certain people call you up and immediately have your ear and respect. And she was one of them because she always led with her heart and her mind and was, look, unyielding. She was a force of nature. And there was no stopping her when she was on a subject. So when she called and I spoke with her, I listened, and she was, I would say, always right. And often affected the decision making when I had the paper. But on the flip side, I also could count on her to give a lot of love as much as any aunt ever could. So I'll miss her. And there was only one Aunt Peggy, and that is for sure. And she will be very missed.
I did not have the privilege of knowing her nearly as well as you did, but I don't know that there was anybody who went through the Hammonton school system in the 80s or 90s who doesn't remember Mrs. Injemy, who looked forward to her being a substitute, because there were some substitutes you run right over, and there were others that you cowered in fear from. But Mrs. Injemy was one of the rare ones that we actually respected. And she was smart, she was fierce, she was no nonsense, she was funny, she was caring. Like you listened to her because she was great. I loved talking with her. Periodically, I'd run into her here and there after school. I remember interviewing her a few times after graduation for the paper, and every time you sat down and you talked for 2 hours. You didn't even remember what you were talking about, but it was a joy. My condolences to everyone who knew her better, but I think we're all poorer.
Absolutely. After this commercial break, we're going to have Louis Pantalone on the show to talk about all things Mount Carmel. And now, first word from our sponsor, Crowley and Carr.
If you're looking to buy or sell your home or commercial property in South Jersey, call Phil Carr, owner of Crowley and Carr Real Estate. Crowley and Carr is the best place in town to find the best place in town. Call them at 609 561 0505 or go to Facebook or Instagram.
We are excited to have with us today Lou Pantalone, president of the Our Lady of Mount Carmel Society. Before taking on the role of president, Lou was vice president for more than 2 decades, and now he has been president of the organization since 2014. Louis, welcome to the Jersey Oddcast.
Oh, thank you for having me. I appreciate that very much, very much.
We're happy to have you. Absolutely happy to have you.
Great to see you, Louie, as always.
Thank you.
As
Thank you.
always.
Yeah.
Thank you. You guys have been great to us and appreciate all that you've done for the society over the years. So thank you very much.
It's going to continue on, and this year, especially with the 150th. Joe, you have a couple questions to start out with.
Yeah, man, 150 years. Louis, how does it feel to make it here?
It's pretty exciting. Thinking about this for some time, you can't do this when you wake up on the 2025 to make this happen. It was 5 years ago, I put together a committee that was tasked with getting us to this point, and that was led by Frankie Italiano. And very pleased with all of the ideas that came about. And trust me, there were many. So the first whole year was just throwing out ideas and just brainstorming and say, if we could have the world, what would we have? And that's how it all began. And each idea was evaluated, each idea was discussed. And again, I have to really credit the organization because they all have open minds. And once a decision is made, they all follow, we all work together to achieve that goal. So it's been tremendous. It's been tremendous.
That's good. Now, how long has you've been an officer, if my math is right, you've just been an officer for more than 30 years. How long have you been a member?
I joined the society in 1979.
Wow.
Okay. So 40, I'm not,
I'm
yeah,
not good at math,
Yeah,
Joe, so I'm not
46.
even going to try.
46.
It's
Yeah.
46, Joe.
Yeah,
This is good. Listen, we're just glad we got the 150th anniversary in the right year. Let's not task him with math.
Little
But
math never hurt anybody.
you're thrusting. Where are you going with that? How long he's been involved? It's
Yeah, I mean,
as
that's,
an officer, and
I,
actually
I,
the
I,
whole thing.
yeah, not you've been an officer for more than 3 decades. You've been involved for 46 years. So this is a great chunk of your life devoted to this. Your family can trace back all the way to the start, correct?
No, I
No?
cannot. I
Okay.
cannot. However, my grandfather, he was one of the members that came over in I would say probably in the 20s, but he joined probably in the 40s in that vicinity or in about that because he was the person that built that building
Okay.
that we're in today. My grandfather his name was Louis. He was actually Lavino, but they changed it to Louis. He was a stonemason from Abruzzo. And he came over here, and not only did he build that building, he built part of the Sons of Italy building, and he built part of the Inskip Antlers Gunning Club. So very busy man back in
Yeah,
those days.
for
Wow.
sure, for
But
sure.
then,
And
but then I have my father, who was a former president. I have my father's brother, Uncle Butch, which is Lewis,
yes,
a member. I have my brother Joseph, a member. I have my two cousins, Uncle Butch's sons, Lewis, another Lewis, and David, obviously all Pantalone. And then we have my cousin Sherry's husband, Joe Brigandy, who is a member, which is Uncle Butch's son-in-law. And I have cousins, Anthony Ritz, Brian Ritz, that are also there. Again, and that's the culture of the organization, typically from father to son, that it's handed down.
yeah.
And we're very proud of that ancestry that came here and started that. And a lot of other members, Frankie Italiano has deep roots back to the founding fathers. Very blessed to have that.
And now, a word from show sponsor, Hammonton Family Eye Care.
See Hammonton Family Eye Care for routine and medical eye care for all ages. It's where I get my glasses, and you should get them there too. From glasses to contacts to eye exams and more, visit Hammonton Family Eye Care at Peachtree Plaza, 80 South Whitehorse Pike in Hammonton. Call 609 567 7479 or go to hammontonfamilyeyecare.com. How many members, Louis, in the society? And it's
Yeah.
fixed. I know it goes, like you said, father to son or the equivalent. How
Yes.
many would you say at any given?
Our charter is 50 members
Okay.
maximum.
Okay.
Okay.
We could go above that if it is a son of a member. The son of a member comes in with full privileges, but they do have to meet before the board and they have to be accepted. You must be a practicing Catholic and you must have all your sacraments.
Okay. And that leads us to the next part, just to follow up on that. You guys work hand in glove with the parish. The parish does its thing during the feast, but you're there. And as Catholics, I think sometimes people who are just coming to have a good time at the carnival or go to the beer garden don't always see the connection between the procession, but that's really your big day. The 16th of July is what it's all about, right? The Catholicism and the faith.
Absolutely. It's all through the intercession of Our Lady of Mount Carmel, which is the image of the Blessed Mother. So she is the closest thing to getting to our Lord that you can get to. But that's the reason the society was formed. In 1875, our ancestors from Gesso, Sicily came over. They settled on Pine Road at the house of Antonino Capelli, 232 Pine Road. That's where the first procession began. And that was done with a picture. There wasn't even a statue. And quite more importantly, there wasn't even a church in Hammonton. The
Right.
first church didn't come till 12 years later.
Mhm.
Okay. So this is sponsored in its entirety by the society. However, the church, as you mentioned, is a very intricate part of that. And we do appreciate all that the church has done to help us with the statues and so forth to be a part of that in the procession. But this started back then with the
Put it out
sole
there.
meaning. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. People, I remember reports in the newspaper in the day in the 1800s called it the Italian Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
Is that a sense of giving thanks to God that, look, we arrived here safely, safe passage, which Mount Carmel is known for, Our Lady of Mount Carmel. And so that carries through 150 years later, is what you're
It, it,
saying.
abs- it absolutely does. That's the focus of the organization. Let it be known. Everything else is just added on to have fun and enjoy each other's company, but without. And a perfect example in this day and age, and we know in the past it's been through World War One, World War Two, Vietnam, right, all the wars,
Right.
but we displayed that devotion and that appreciation of the Blessed Mother when COVID hit. There was not
Yeah,
another organization in the state, in the country, that were able to carry out what we did. And
right.
again, that showed the dedication of the society and what we stand for.
Oh, I remember that vividly, and I remember you and I talking about that even if the world were shut down, there was no one who was going to stop you and the guys from walking around the field on Pine Road just to have the procession as you do every year. Yeah.
Yeah, that again, Joe, you're so true. We abided by all the regulations that we
Hmm.
needed to. We contacted the Atlantic County Board of Health. They worked very well with us to help us and guide us through that. And I'm happy to say that whole festival, and I think Gabe, Gina, and Joe, through the intercession of Our Lady,
Yes,
Yeah.
made it happen.
without a doubt.
Yeah.
Without any catastrophe, any problems, any sickness, any wrongdoing.
And we talk about these things because to us in Hammonton, they're very real
Yeah.
about the miraculous, about the things that happen on the Feast of Our Lady of Mount Carmel, or because someone went to the Feast of Our Lady of Mount Carmel, they walked in that procession and they asked for the intercession of Mary and they received the blessing that they wanted or a miracle. And other people will say, I go to other towns and they say, you're talking about that. You don't really believe that. And I say, I believe it.
Yeah.
It's like, and I think you guys are the same way.
Absolutely.
This is our great expression publicly annually of our faith. And I think people who don't get it maybe don't get it, but when that procession rolls, there's people who've been coming since like the 40s and the 50s
All their
and
life.
all their lives, and to them it is very real that
Yeah.
that day. To
Yeah.
that, and I noticed it seems to have, since COVID, maybe because of what you said about that year and what you guys took on and did, it seems like that procession crowd has grown again and that people are coming out again for the religious side of it as well.
Yeah, we've been doing a lot to promote that. We had a lull in the 90s.
Hmm.
Right.
It was almost to the part of where we were heading with other things that used to have tradition and started to fade away. But we had to find a way to revitalize that and rejuvenate it. So we spent a lot of time and energy in involving the community and involving other areas to help take notice of what this was. And the town has been very helpful to us in making things happen. Mayor and council have done a tremendous job of working with us and never said no. If we wanted to try to do something, they were right there with us to
Okay.
really help and encourage to get this tradition back to where it used to be. So very excited about that, and we have seen the crowds growing, Gabe. To your point, quite a
Yeah,
bit.
yeah, both for the secular and the non-secular. The crowds, I don't. Now we're counting numbers in tens of thousands again
Yes.
coming for the week, and maybe we can talk a little bit about the lineup for the 150th, which is very special. You're talking about three fireworks nights, a drone
We
show.
yeah,
I mean,
we
you're talking about a lot of things this year that had not happened before. I think
no.
Gina has some information. Do you have the dates on some of those fireworks nights, Gina, or when they are, Bluey, if
I do.
whoever's.
Yeah.
I can give you the
Yeah,
whole breakdown gladly. Again, a lot of energy has gone into this, and we're doing a lot, quite frankly, to give back to the town to say thank you
right.
Okay.
for the support that they have given us. We opened up with a banquet March 8th just to kick off the 150th year anniversary. Then again, on May 17th, we brought Frankie Avalon, Fabian
Yep,
to the town of Hammonton,
That was
and we
awesome.
did that for a
great show.
reason. We did that for a reason. Number one, that meant a lot because they were local. They were
Right.
Yeah.
local. As we know, Frankie Avalon's grandmom and family are here in Hammonton. He
Yep.
visited regularly. Fabian's family right down the street from Berlin, right?
Yep.
Echo.
Yep.
So people know them intimately. You can't imagine the number of people that night that they spoke to that knew them. And we thought that was, and it was all for free. There wasn't, if you wanted to give a donation, fine, didn't matter, but it was all to say thank you to the town. We had over 3,000 people turn out. I think we would have had more had the weather been better through the course of the week. We went
Mm.
right up to that morning with rain.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But again, a tribute and a thank you, a big thank you to the town of Hammonton and to the people of Hammonton. So now we're going to kick it off with on July 13th, in partner with the Sons of Italy, they have their spaghetti dinner. And then something we started last year was the race of the sandwiches.
Great.
These are friends of mine
Oh, look,
that don't.
Joe's got a shirt on.
I
If you
love it.
think
I love it.
that.
I love it, Joe. Thank you. Friends of mine that are from all different parts of the country that came here. Actually, it's going to be 4 years ago that just fell in love with this town,
Yeah,
and they wanted to do something or start something that they thought would be meaningful and fun for the kids to have a good
right.
time. On their own, they went out and got the ability to raise the money to fund these costumes that they bought, and they're not,
They're
you
not
know,
cheap. No,
no, they're
no,
No,
not. They're
no.
not.
It
No,
looks
no.
they're
like
not.
I said. It looks like a Major League Baseball level.
Exactly, Gabe.
I mean,
Exactly. That
it's like crazy.
Yeah, they're
exactly.
not
That
costumes that I made. No.
no,
Right.
or me. And that thus began the running of the sandwiches. So that will take place around 4 o'clock in front of the Sons of Italy on the 13th.
Are
So go
you in
there, have
one of
something
the
to eat.
costumes, Louis? Are you in one of those
No,
suits?
no, I am
Okay.
not. I am not.
Frankie?
Those are anonymous, very good friends.
It's a close held secret.
Yes. So we share it with the Sons of Italy, the sandwiches. The Sons of Italy have in the race, they have the meatball and they have the red roast beef.
Okay.
The caramel has the sausage, pepper, and onions, and the roast pork and provolone and broccoli rabe. So
Uh,
we'll see. Last year the red roast beef won. So we'll see what happens this year. But
my money's on the broccoli, Rob.
Yeah,
I feel like
absolutely. My money's on that. It's your year. I think this is it.
well,
we,
Yeah.
we
straight.
we asked Nick LaGuardia when he was on.
Yeah.
Well, is there any wagering or any kind of anything? We don't get involved in that. He said, he
Yeah.
said,
Yeah.
listen, if we're
Yeah.
gonna have a race and it's Hammonton, someone's gonna be wagering.
I'm sure there's somebody on the side that'll be interested in talking to you. But as that afternoon concludes, we will then be moving over to the Hammonton High School. And again, I can't thank the Hammonton Board of Education, all of the educators and students at the Hammonton High School, the facilities people, open arms, have done so much to make sure that we're successful. They do a lot for us during the week of the 16th. They
Sure.
help us with the parking.
Sure.
They help us with transportation. They allow us to use the field for the fireworks and the drone show. So a tremendous amount of giving to the community. The students are there. But that evening, it will start probably as it gets closer to dusk. But the Hammonton Band will be performing
Oh, okay.
at the stadium there.
That's good.
So the stadium will be where people can sit. You can also sit. The parking will be at the high school, right there at the parking lot. You can park anywhere on the parking lot. Just park in the lines, please. Let's keep it organized. Park in the parking lot. If we have overflow, there'll be parking. You know where we have the Blueberry Festival now on that
Mhm.
grass lot.
Yes.
So we'll have people there, students, our members, helping people park there as well. So plenty of places to park. We will have a dynamic sound system that we have worked with Kevin Rodeo, who's been fantastic. He provided all the staging and
great.
everything. He helped us organize that. We went through his company, and then without his help and assistance, it would have been very difficult. But he's going to provide the sound for that day. In
Top
addition
notch.
to, if you don't sit in the bleachers, you'll still be able to turn into a FM station that will broadcast the whole
Okay.
event.
Oh, that's great.
So there'll be
Nice.
narration, there'll be music, and there'll be fireworks through the whole display of the drone show.
So the radio thing is almost like when we go to a house that has a great Christmas display and they have the music. You just turn your radio on. You could be sitting there in your car. You
Yep.
can watch the whole thing. And that's
Perfect.
Exactly.
Okay.
That's
The concession stand will be open too. If people would like to get a snack or something by that time, I'm hoping you've eaten and you're hoping you ate a lot of spaghetti at the Sons of Italy. So that'll be open as well.
and then that's followed by a fireworks display that night.
Oh, it'll be intermingled. So
With
you'll
that.
have
Oh, okay.
fireworks, music, and then we'll finish off after the drone closes down. Then finish off with the fireworks.
Okay. And then on the point about fireworks, obviously the 16th, is that display going to be in its usual spot downtown?
Somebody lives near there.
Yeah,
I
we're
can't
not going to say
remember.
who, but
Can't remember.
yeah,
Yeah.
but just checking.
Yeah.
Gina
Yeah,
and I are always
absolutely.
interested in that.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
that's
Yeah,
great.
that night, and again on the closing night,
Okay.
July 19th, we'll have the finale that night.
Okay.
It'll be the final show of fireworks.
That's amazing. And I want to make one point before I'm sure Gina has some questions too. But You talked about the 150 years and about starting off before there was a Catholic Church. I just thought while you were talking, you talked about how the school and the municipality both help you, and they do gratefully. But you even, if you think about it, where the Historical Society is the first town hall, that's from 1887. And back in the day of one room schoolhouses, when you go back to 1875, I mean, you're before town hall. You're before not just the church, but
I
the,
think if my memory serves me correctly, that the town was incorporated in 1866 or
correct.
something,
That is
Yep.
correct.
right? So yeah,
That's
yeah.
amazing. It's
Yeah.
just incredible.
Yeah. Because
And you
I
guys are
think
to be commended. That's
I think
amazing.
back then they used like Elvin's Hotel as town hall until they properly built one.
So you're talking about predating a town hall, predating central schools. All of this thing was going on before all that. So you guys are really one of these things. I would hope that the municipality and the school district would help you out because you guys have been here as almost the spine of the town and the heart for so long.
And
This is
it,
an amazing thing.
and they have, and I also want to credit St. Joseph's School prior
Mm,
to the academy and the academy today. Again, helpful. The students under Paul Sacco, when Paulie was there, Coach Sacco, the students came out, pushed the carriers when we were having those difficult years, right? You guys
Hmm.
remember it was
I
a little
do.
Yeah, of
tough.
course.
Yep.
Yeah.
So they came out and really helped to keep those statues on the street. And now today, the academy again, they volunteers that come over and work with us during the week of the feast. They allow us to use the field for the fireworks. So again, we've been very blessed with the cooperation of everyone, Main Street, the chamber,
Yeah.
truly blessed. And we give back a lot. We try to give back a lot. The best thing we probably ever did in our day was to get back into the community was we built 50 picnic tables and
Right.
we built them ourselves with the intentions, first of all, to use them for our feast week, but then even more so to help organizations when they had events to be able to do that. We built two stages. Those stages go out when the community needs them. We offer them out there. So a lot of things that we try to give back to re-energize the awareness of the society and what we stand for.
That's great.
That's
Louis,
fantastic.
what else will feel different this feast week than it has in previous years? What will we notice when we're on the grounds?
I want to go back to the religious aspect of
Of
this
course.
because
Yep.
I want to thank Father David for the idea of trying to get to the Pope and get us some recognition for what we've been doing for 151 years, actually, right? He started that petition that we all work to circulate and get people to sign and then present to the diocese, who in turn had to present to Rome. And it was very exciting. We didn't think we were trying to get over 5,000. I don't think we made that goal, but I think the story that was sent, and there's a couple of people to thank too. And that's Rick Fagnano, who was a great historian for a lot of the feasts that take place in Hammonton. Nick was very instrumental in helping us put together the history, as well as my brother Joe and other members of Dave DeStefano, Kevin Tomasello, trying to pull all this together so that when we did present it to the Pope, that there was meaning there and there was viable documentation that of the significance of what we've achieved. And we were happy to say that right before our banquet, and the Father was able to announce it that night, that we received a canonical coronation by the Pope, Pope Francis, before he passed, that recognizes our devotion and the devotion of this society and church for Our Lady. So that will take place. The bishop, our new Bishop Joseph, will be here to celebrate that Mass with us, to
Right.
crown the baby Jesus with a crown that was developed from donated gold from the parishioners, so that anybody that wanted to be a part of that had the opportunity to, if you had a gold chain and you're not using it, to submit it to Father, and that will be part of the crown. And that will be crowned, the baby Jesus will be crowned, and that will be historical. This would be the fifth one that has happened in the United States.
Wow.
So
Oh, wow.
another remarkable accomplishment for our community.
Yeah, and I want to say the community aspect of all this keeps striking me. People donating their gold to the crown, people donating when they put money on the statues and with the sashes, and then the other side of it, and the religious side is of course of paramount importance, but the community aspect of the memories that are made by these young people now by coming to the running of the sandwiches, by coming to the carnival. I hear a lot of people almost refer to it as I go to the fair in Hammonton.
Yeah.
And then the older people with the beer gardens and the music. Do you guys ever get a sense of how many people are impacted by coming together in 1 week in one block or so, or 2 blocks of Hamilton? Do you get a sense of how much it means to people? I think when COVID hit, we realized what we lost when we didn't have it.
Yeah,
Do
great,
you get
great.
that sense?
Great point, Gabe. Yeah, and we do. We did a documentary. I don't know if you've had the opportunity
Yes.
to
Yeah.
view it. And we've taken comments from the communities, from people that have come, not just from Hamilton, but from all over. And what that meaning, you have grandparents that brought their children, or you have parents that brought their children way back.
Hmm.
Now they become parents, and now they're grandparents, and they're still bringing their children here.
Mhm.
That continues, and we're very proud of that. That we have that notoriety and we have that passion that we're able to instill into those people that really still carry this close to their heart. A lot of people say it's a class reunion, right? This is
Oh
where
yeah.
they
Yeah.
come back.
Oh,
They
yeah.
come back to see all the classmates and friends that they haven't seen in years. And this is a melting pot of everybody that comes to visit and have fun with one another. So it
Right.
is a community outreach. It is a national event that brings many people back together again.
We'll be back after a quick break to showcase our sponsor, Diversified Insurance.
See Diversified Insurance for all your commercial and personal insurance needs. They are a value added firm. They provide unsurpassed service, consult with you to determine your needs, and offer you a choice of insurance plans and programs. They are a value hunter who can find the best combination of coverage, service, and price. Contact them today at 609 567 7771 or visit their website at diversifiedinsuranceofnj.com.
Are you guys
Yeah.
doing anything on Pine Road this year?
Yes, we are.
Is that private or is
Every
that just for
10
the
years,
club?
it is for the organization, especially this year because of everything that we have going on. It was too much. Every 10 years, we do something back there to commemorate that. But this year, we'll be having a mass on the 28th for our members there. And again, honoring that start and that where that feast came about. And that will be Saturday the 28th. Yes, we will, Gina.
Okay.
Two quick ones, Louis, on this side. Do you have a memory going back when you were younger that sticks in your memory of the Feast of Our Lady Mount Carmel? And second question, follow up, what are you looking forward to the most this year for this special year 150?
The yeah, it's very impactful to me and it's emotional to me. I remember as a young man, a kid, I think I might have been about 8 or 9 years old. And my father, the first bomb would go off at 7 o'clock in the morning. Okay. And at that point, my dad was already down there, but he would have to come home because they would do a morning procession, which we still do today. He would come home to change. And the uniform then was a white shirt, long sleeves, rolled up with a pair of slacks and your badge. We had badges back then. The reason why we don't have them anymore today, we can't find anyone that can make them.
Oh.
But be that as it may. So I would remember my dad coming home to change and going back, and I would just pester my mother to give me a long sleeve white shirt. I need a white shirt, Mom. I got to go with Dad. And thank God back in those days, you could walk to the moon and back
Yeah.
and not worry. So my mom knew it. I had because I was very persistent. My brother was the good one. I was the one that caused all the trouble. So she knew it would be best for me to get out of the house, or I'm going to make her life terrible. She gave me my white shirt. She rolled up my sleeves, and there I went to be with my dad.
Yeah.
You grew
Well,
up pretty
I knew
close
your.
to the grounds, correct, Louis?
1 block away.
Oh.
One
Like
block
Gabe.
away.
Like Gabe, saying that same
Yeah,
Yeah.
experience.
Yeah.
I grew up a
Yep.
block away, and
Yep.
I knew your dad, by the way, and
Yep.
interviewed your father, and I
Yep.
can tell you, he would be very proud. He would be very proud about all this
Yeah.
because to him it was you're centering on all the right things, and he told me that. I remember him
Yeah.
telling me that this is what I want going forward, that they focus on the right things, But I had the opportunity to see him with the band, and I had the
Yep.
opportunity, of course, which is named after him, right?
Yep.
The band, and what a great memory that is. You wanted to be just like your dad,
Yep.
and he is a past president of
Correct.
wow,
And his name is Carmine after the Blessed Mother, quite frankly. That's how
yeah,
Oh,
my grandmother named him. Yeah.
yeah, that's
Yeah.
right, Carmine Pantalone, which is the name of the band, Carmine
Yep.
Pantalone.
Correct. Correct. Yeah.
That's great. And how about for the 150th? Is
This
there,
year,
yeah, what are you looking forward to?
yeah, I'm really looking forward to the July 16th day, that
Yeah,
whole day,
It's the best.
to just revisit
yeah, I
and
agree.
commemorate yeah, plus your birthday.
Thank
Um,
you.
yep.
Thank you. I feel like I just got a papal blessing.
But that's the day we're all looking forward to, and to have that honor bestowed upon us by the Pope. Hopefully, the weather is accommodating. We've been through it all.
Yep.
We've
Oh
been
yeah.
yeah.
through it all, and the Blessed Mothers is allow us to get through it, even those times when it might be raining and the water's flowing over the curbs, and we're still going down the street. We pray for good weather so that we can have a very blessed day and everybody can enjoy themselves safely and just and embrace the moment.
Did
Now,
you guys
I've
give
seen
any
you.
thought to bringing back the giant candles?
Oh
You,
goodness.
you know the ones I mean. I've seen in all the photos.
Yeah,
They're huge.
you know what? No,
Soon.
that was a tradition done by the people themselves because
Right.
they
Really?
said the larger the candle, the bigger the need.
Oh,
Yes.
Oh.
So that was those families did that. It was not provided by the church. Those families brought those
Oh, I thought it was
candles.
like a
Those
That makes
church or a
sense.
women,
society thing. I did not know it was individually.
No,
no,
no, no.
nope, they were individuals.
When you look at the picture in my book, those people are just walking in the procession.
Correct.
They're not.
They're following in the
They're
procession.
following. They're following.
Yeah.
And I didn't even think about that, Louis, until you just said it.
Mm.
Because I, like Gina, thought the same thing. Oh, maybe that's religious. I do have a funny side story. I used to be an altar boy, and yep, I was okay, same. And
not me.
by the time not you, huh? When
Not
we
me.
came up Fairview Avenue, by the time we came up Fairview Avenue, it was so hot. The candles we were holding we had the bronze or whatever they were
Yeah.
candle holders, and the candle was like this big. Would just start just
Falling over.
yeah, because it was so hot. And by the time you got to the brewery, it was two things. It was hit the candle going over, and just the smell of the hops hits you
Yep.
like a
Yep.
wall
Yep.
at Vet's Bakery.
Yep.
But it
Yep.
was we loved going through that procession
Yep.
though. It didn't
Yep.
matter how hot.
I'll
It
tell you
did.
the first I was an altar boy and had to walk in it right in the
Yep.
beginning, and then the first float they had, you might know the person,
Yes. I
Angela
think.
Donio. Do you
Yes.
know her?
Yes.
Yeah.
Might have heard of her.
Yeah.
Might have heard.
I was the person that knelt at the Pietà. I was on that
Ah.
float. I was the
Okay.
first
So
one.
in it.
My replacement never showed up,
Now, who was that
so I
supposed
had
to
to
be?
do the whole
The
procession.
whole way around.
The
Yeah,
whole procession
you wonder how many stories there are over the
of
years
that
of
nature.
just that nature. And
Yep.
they, oh yeah, we're gonna. I know that one of those years you mentioned where things were a little down. I remember Father Frank, my brother, pressed me into service and a couple other people to push Our Lady of Guadalupe because there was no one to
Sure.
push it. And how could we say no?
You're not.
Father
You're
Frank,
not.
you're not saying no.
No.
And it was a great moment. But yeah, there's so many memories. And yeah, like you, the 16th is going to be, if you want to say Italian Thanksgiving, Italian, both of
Christmas.
them
Yeah.
together. I
Yeah.
don't
Italian
know.
Christmas.
Yeah. You're
Yeah,
right. You're right.
really.
And now a moment for our show sponsor, Marinella Funeral Home.
Marinella Funeral Home has been serving the community since 1962 and has been family owned and operated for 3 generations. Marinella Funeral Home provides individually designed burial, cremation, and pre planned funeral services to meet the needs of each family. Ask them about how pre planning provides true peace of mind to your family. Contact the Marinella Funeral Home, located at 102 North 3rd Street in Hammonton at 609 561 1311. I don't know if you're hearing this in your position, but we're hearing just a buzz, an excitement throughout the community and beyond it about this week, this year. Like people are really looking forward to it. So
Thank you.
credit to you guys.
How,
Yeah,
Is it?
and a lot, like I said, a lot has gone into making awareness of
Yeah.
what we're experiencing.
how do
Yeah.
you plan to take time to enjoy the moment, soak it all in? Because I've seen you running around the feast week and you look a little busy.
I was
Everyone's
going to
pulling you,
say the exact same thing.
See
I
that?
was
like,
going to say
Well,
that.
the
like, you
guys
know,
at
you have
Whirling
your
Dirt.
wedding, like when bride and groom
Yeah,
always say at their wedding, they never had a chance to enjoy it. They were so busy.
yeah.
But like this is such a momentous occasion. Do you have any plans or taking 15 minutes to just soak it in, or are you just hoping it happens? What is your plan for that?
Yeah, I find the moments. I
Yeah.
do. And again, I have so much faith in the organization, the men and ladies. It's not just our men, right? It's the
Yeah.
Yeah.
women and the children. So they find ways to make everybody have some time. So, yes, I do run around crazy, but I have so many great people right behind me doing the same thing. So I'm
Yeah.
very blessed and I'm very thankful to have an organization of people that care as much as I do.
Okay.
So that's the difference.
Yeah.
That's the
Yeah.
difference.
Yeah.
Everybody has the same belief, the same passion. Passion is a very important word, but the same faith.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Faith is the most important thing. And that's why we are who we are. And that's why we're successful.
And that's why you've been successful for
Yes.
150 years.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. That's it. And I think at this point, Gina, are there any other questions, Joe? You guys?
No, I think we've
A
fought.
couple other things
Yeah. Sure.
to
Go
Yeah.
ahead.
say
Whatever you have.
Your thing.
about the society. And number one, Father Joe Capella.
Yeah. Of
Father
course.
Joe started as a member
Mm.
in our organization. And then Father became a priest, and then Father was our chaplain,
Yeah.
and we couldn't have been more blessed with him. There's another gentleman that really there's not been a lot of presidents in our society because the terms are as long as they want you, you're there.
You're
um,
president for life.
yeah, but we've had some great ones. But I think the greatest that stands out in my mind is Louis Tomasello. Now, Louis was a very quiet man, but Louis changed our society to make it a society of brothers. It was somebody that he created committees, he created involvement. He really helped turn our society around in a good way that made people really feel a part of it. You didn't feel like I can't say anything because I just got here and don't say any words. He changed that. He gave everybody a voice, and from that period, and it continued to grow. And then George came on and carried that tradition, and now I'm there carrying that through. So it's built up. And not that anybody before him did anything wrong, it's just the way things change. And you become, if you're in tune, you become better aware of how we can make this better.
Yeah.
And that's happened from the beginning all the way through now, and it'll continue. I firmly believe that.
I also think you guys and the Sons of Italy have really moved more toward being almost seen as a civic club. Like we think of the Lions and Kiwanis and
Right.
the giving back portion that you talked
Yeah.
about
Yes.
with the stages and with the picnic tables.
For
That
charities.
yeah, all that now your organization, both within and without, is seen as far more open and far more
Yeah.
like giving. And I think that that's made for a better feast week.
It has.
Y-
And we have two more that have joined us now. Mother Cabrini, the Cabrini
Right?
ladies, and the Italian sons and daughters have come back
Yeah.
in strong form now. So
Yeah.
that's four good Italian groups now that are working in unison to keep our faith and keep our tradition alive.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I just want to make a note about Father Joe Capella, a wonderful man and a wonderful priest. I'll just say it. Bellevue Avenue procession 2009. He put his hands on my head when I had cancer. I don't care what anybody says. I felt it.
Mhm.
That faith to me, through him, felt it. And I'm here today, all these years later, and I think back to Father Joe. He just stopped in the middle of the procession, and I'll never forget it. This is
Yep.
something you never forget,
No, he was a good
Impactful,
man.
very impactful,
without a doubt.
and sincere. One other advertisement, if you would.
Of course, Louis.
We brought back the car raffle. Okay,
Yes.
unfortunately, my mother's not here barking, but our mother. We have a Chevy Equinox. It's a beautiful car.
Nice.
That'll be raffled off, and then this year we have challenge coins that I'd like to give to each one of you
Oh,
from the
Thank you.
thank you
society.
so
Thank you.
Okay,
much.
so we'll get
Appreciate it.
together, and then we have Christmas ornaments that were
Ah, that's great.
be available. Again, a memento of this monumental accomplishment for all of us this year.
That's
Uh,
fantastic.
It's absolutely wonderful, and you think about it, it's very hard to have an event go 20 years, much less 150. And in Hammonton, we are so lucky to have you and to have this organization support the town because it's really what we're known for. Hammonton, oh yeah, Feast of Our Lady of
Yeah.
Mount Carmel, or the Feast Week. And there's so many
Yeah,
people in life as we have working in other places, and I'm in Philly, and people are like, oh yeah, I know Hammonton. I used to come because of Feast of Our Lady of Mount Carmel, or yeah, you're gonna have those great sandwiches, and
yeah,
which one should I go to? And people know us for the Feast Week,
All of
and
them.
there's something special about
They
that,
do.
you know.
Oh,
yeah.
you just
And
reminded me. Why do you think the sausage and pepper sandwich has become
the
such an
iconic sandwich.
icon of the feast? It seems like it's the one people.
Yeah,
They're all good, but
yeah.
why is the sausage and pepper? Is it just Italian?
I
Uh,
don't know because we really didn't start selling pork till about 15 years ago. Pork is
right.
another porchetta, right?
Yes,
Is an
Yeah.
yes,
Italian tradition too.
sure.
But the Italian sausage from way back when, that's
That was
what
the
it
thing.
was.
Yeah,
I
that's
think a
that's
lot
what
of
you got.
people raised pigs around here back in the day, if you think about
Yes,
it. So, yeah, it's
yes,
the truth.
and they
It's the
made their
truth.
own. No,
Yeah,
they
yeah.
made their own
And then you had
sausage.
two fantastic butcher shops, right? You had Bagliani's, you have Ferrera's, right?
Ferreras.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Uh,
Yep.
so there were a lot of they made their own sausage, and
Yeah.
Yeah.
everybody loved it. So I think that had a lot to do with it. But
It's just all these things that are nothing like sitting outside, listening to
yeah,
music. You have a beer, you have a sandwich.
Yeah.
I think that's what people keep coming back for on the non-religious side because they're like they can't get it anywhere else anymore, right?
No.
Not like this.
And
I
even
mean,
no,
if
you
you
can't.
could, it doesn't taste as good.
No, it's
right,
not the
right.
same.
It isn't. It
So
isn't.
thanks for that. I was wondering because I always think of sausage and pepper sandwiches for some reason that
Lou,
Yeah,
week.
but that's
You know,
yeah.
Louis, did you want to mention
go ahead,
anything
Gina.
new about the monument, Third and is that
Oh,
Pleasant
right.
Street or Third? Is that Third and French?
Would
In
be
French.
third and French.
The new
Yeah,
Third
stone.
and
thank you,
French.
Gina. Yeah, I appreciate that. Yeah, we dedicated that on June 10th, and that was the last night of Avena that Father David had set up through the year.
Yeah.
And those stones represent every member from the inception of the society
Wow.
up to this July 16th. The plaque didn't come in time. We're going to have a temporary plaque placed up there, but that's those stones behind Our Lady. That's what that represents.
Is my
Something that we want to commemorate.
is my great grandfather on there,
Could
Sabatino
be.
Donio?
Yep. Yep.
I only bring it up because my father, if he was here, would not want me to not say this. Sabatino Donio, my father always recalled as his grandson, was in charge of the fireworks.
Hmm.
He loved fireworks.
So do I.
Yeah, that's why I'm bringing it up.
If you
That's why
know.
I'm bringing it up. So you kindred spirits with my great grandfather, also a member. So
Yep,
there you
yep, yep.
go.
And my grandfather, yeah, I loved it. And now I got my granddaughter. I'm so happy that I'm able to bring her out there and celebrate
Oh, that's
Aria.
great.
She's the best, and
That's
I'm
great.
so happy. My daughter Amy's coming in from Arizona with her fiance, and I got Joe and Ashley that live in the homestead, and my granddaughter live in the homestead. So
That's
Nice.
awesome.
it's great. And I
Yeah.
couldn't do anything without my wife Joanne letting me do all this. She was here with me today. We finally got I got the storyboards and the renderings of the actual drone show,
Okay.
and it has to be we're narrating it, so I had to go break it down, and she was here writing the seconds and the minutes and helping with
That's great.
so again, family is everything.
Yeah.
And I got to say, Frank Italiano, he and we work so well together. The committees that we have working with us, our board of directors, the officers, we can't we can't be any more blessed than what we are.
That's great.
Yeah.
Well,
Anything else, Louis, that yeah, or Gina, go ahead.
no, I was just saying this has been wonderful, and I feel like I've learned a lot more and have a deeper appreciation for the society.
At Bagliani's Market, they always say, we treat our customers like family with a variety of custom cut meats, farm fresh produce, delicious cheeses, a full deli, and more, Bagliani's Market has something for everyone. They are famous for their wide variety of authentic Italian specialty products. Try their Italian bread and rolls, prepared foods, and homemade pasta. Follow their social media for weekly loyalty reward promos. Bagliani's Market is located at 417 12th Street in Hammonton. Call 609 561 0693 or visit Facebook and Instagram for more information.
Is there anything else that our listeners should know about upcoming feast week?
Yeah,
Any entertainment you want to
again,
mention?
we skipped through that, but Amusements of America has been
Good
bringing
point.
their carnival here to us for over
Yeah.
65 years.
Yeah.
I actually have known them since I was 5 years old. I am very close to that family. I have multiple sons and daughters with that group.
Oh, wow.
They're a great organization. They have the same beliefs and faiths that we do. And we're just very happy that they feel when they come to Hamilton, they're home. So that's something that the town, when these carnivals have a very, sometime a different effect on communities and the way people treat them, but they're people just like us.
Yeah.
And I'm very proud to say that they love Hamilton. And I thank the people of Hamilton for treating them like human beings because they are. So thank you on my behalf for them.
It's great.
And we're just excited. Got a couple new rides that might be here this year. The
Nice.
Wall of Death. You remember the Wall of Death?
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, so it took me and Morris, who is my good friend at the carnival, one of the owners, a long time to get it back. We had to search high and far to bring back. And the show that we brought back, Danny and his wife Julie, they built that dome themselves. And they don't do the bike weeks. They just do fairs and festivals because they enjoy people remembering those types of events and types of acts. And that's why to get in there, it still costs the same as it did back when they were here. It's $2. $2. Okay. Go any place to see something like
Yeah.
that for $2.
Nope.
Yeah. You're not going to find
Right?
it. You're
Not
not going to find
happen. But again, we want to give back to the community. We want everybody to experience the happiness that we all did as children. Right?
Yeah, come on. Who doesn't remember the riding on Gina, the double Ferris wheel? When it
Yeah.
was
Oh
still
my
Yeah.
God, yeah.
Gina,
Yep.
yeah,
Yeah.
Gina's like,
That was a staple.
yeah, yep.
I'm trying to get one. I'm
Oh,
trying
if
to
you
get
could
one.
get a double Ferris wheel back, Louis, I'll
Oh,
tell
you
you
could,
I
what,
know.
I'll
you
go
could
get
see
you.
that thing from across town.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. And we used to have what Gravitron,
Mhm.
Tilt-A-Whirl, and the
Yep.
Scrambler.
You
Yep.
had
And
arcades
I
too
was
when you were a kid, right?
Yep.
Arcade,
Yeah,
yeah.
we
yes.
did.
Sticky
Oh,
Taps.
we
Yeah.
had a
Sticky
tent.
Taps Arcade.
We had a
Yep.
tent arcade. I don't know if we can
Yep.
say this. I'll say it anyway. When it would rain, you got
Yep.
both a great game and you could get little shocks, electric.
Yeah. With the hay on the floor
Yeah,
because of all
that's
the
right. The
the
water,
hay on the
the water,
how about the bingo tent?
the bingo tent,
Oh,
Oh,
Bingo.
and the thing with
yeah.
the golf ball, where you would roll the golf ball up and you could win a
Oh yeah.
like on.
Yep.
It was almost like a skee ball type of
Yep.
thing. The
Yep.
bingo was right next to that.
Yep.
I could
Yep.
tell you where everything was.
You and
Which
me
I'm
both.
sure, yeah. French and Third had the red stand, and then you had the
Yep.
Assumption stand
Assumption
next to
stand on the
that
other
with
side.
the
Yep.
clams, and there were Schlitz beer plaques on the front. And
Yep.
come on, and
Yeah.
look, this is Louis, just like you, and I could walk to it. I
Yep.
could walk
It
around the
was great.
corner,
It
and
was
it was
great.
just there. It was
Yep.
like having a boardwalk
Yep.
magically appear
On
in
your
your
birthday.
on your birthday in your
Yeah.
neighborhood. Who didn't want that? But I
Yeah.
will. And Nick LaGuardia talked about throwing fingers and
Oh yeah.
all these things.
Yep.
But there's literally a million memories in every feast week, maybe millions. And I don't think people understand the iceberg underneath the water of how deep this thing goes with families and
Yeah.
friends, and
Yeah.
it just has such meaning to people.
Yep.
And it's not me talking. You guys know. You hear it from everybody. It's
Yeah.
not.
Yeah.
I'm
And
just
and
telling you what people tell me.
I think
Sure.
it's interesting that I don't even know if we can fully grasp exactly how integral and important that whole week is to our lives. It's simply who we are.
Yeah, yeah.
Yep.
as
It's in our
someone who's
DNA.
not from
Yeah.
town, coming into this town, I will say, growing up very Italian Catholic, I got it right away and I understood it. I'm like, oh, I get this hits me. But when you start
Yeah,
talking to people, and thankfully my job let me do that, and you hear their
Yes.
stories, and the miracles
Yes.
that happened and prayers that were answered, even in the post-war era, like whose kid was healed and who some this happened. And
Yep.
that's what I lived for. I love finding those stories and hearing them and people tell me why this feast is special. That very Catholic end of it and just hearing how their prayers were answered, not always to the Blessed Mother, but maybe they're closely aligned with Saint
That's their
Lucy or
faith.
now
Yeah.
Padre Pio, like all
Yep.
those
Right.
different
That's right.
stories. It's
Yep.
so beautiful.
Yep. If you look at the documentary, there's a piece in there that just brings tears to my eyes besides the one with Father Joe, but it's of Larry Longo. And Larry is one
Oh,
of our senior members today.
Yep.
Yep.
And
Yep.
Yep.
Larry was brought in by his father. Lawrence was the first person that started to stand. So that's a whole nother hour of goodness. But Lawrence told Larry, because he was in Vietnam, he says, "You pray to the Blessed Mother every day, and she'll get you home." And if you see it, he chokes up,
Yep.
and he says, "And she did."
Yep.
But
Yep.
the
And
truth, it's the truth.
it's again, we keep coming back to the same thing. We'll say it again. If you're a person of faith and you come to this thing, it connects with you on such a level that it is more than just going to church. I don't know
Yeah.
how to say it, but it's so much more than that. And you
Yeah.
say to yourself, well, there's got to be something to it, because if you listen to the stories like the Longo story,
Yeah.
you can't help, like you said, Louis, but get emotional
Yes.
just
Oh,
Uh,
yes.
watching it.
Dave,
Yes.
and now a moment for show sponsor Demeglio Septic and Quality Sanitation.
Demeglio Septic and Quality Sanitation are here for a variety of services, including septic pump out, grease trap service, high pressure jetting, portable toilets, and more. Call 609-561-3597 or go to demeglioseptic.com for Demeglio Septic, or call 609-561-4666 for Quality Sanitation. Experience the Demeglio difference, a promise of superior service, quality, and reliability.
Do you
Amazing.
remember when my dad came 15 years ago?
Yeah, Gina's dad was from Brooklyn, and he came, and we were downtown. And if you're in downtown Hammonton, and he was coming out of Casciano, and
Hmm?
you're standing in front of Casciano, and across is the bank. Now it's not the bank, but
Yes.
ARH. It's very urban, and so then here comes the procession. He walked back in, and I said, "Oh, too hot for you, Bobby? Okay?" He said, "No, it's not too hot. I cannot believe there is a place where people are still doing this like we did it in the 50s in
Mm.
Brooklyn. I cannot believe it. I'm so overcome with emotion." He
Mm.
He
said, "I
got
had to
really
come back."
upset. He got really
He said,
emotional.
I got to come in.
Yeah.
I couldn't. It reminded me of all the people I knew," he said, "who were now
Mm.
gone. And that Brooklyn
Yep.
is now gone." He
Mm.
said, "But," he said, and he turned to me, he goes, "Do you know what you have? Do you realize it?" I said, "Every year, every day."
Yep.
I said, "I realize it. I know it, can't take it for granted." Gina, that's what he said.
Yeah, it was a very
I mean,
God
beautiful
bless.
moment, and I'll treasure that memory of my dad.
Yep.
yep.
And that's great. That is great.
Yeah. I mean,
But
it's just
all
amazing.
right,
All right.
we got a lot going on. A lot of good entertainment, Gina. To your point, a lot of
Good.
great entertainment coming
Will
out.
you be
We
singing?
got Goodman Fist opening up on Monday night.
Yeah. Are you
Nice.
Well, that's part
singing?
of the tradition. That's
Yes.
part of the tradition. If they let me, as long
now,
as I
now,
can.
is the song still "Sweet Caroline"? What are we
Yeah.
singing?
Oh,
There
yeah,
you
yeah,
go.
yeah, yeah,
Well,
yeah.
as a Red Sox fan, I thank you.
I know.
Like, but
Will your brother be on drums
just
anywhere?
Oh, well, yeah, he'll be at the Sons of Italy on Wipeout, along with little Frankie Italiano Jr.
look at
Yep.
that.
And then Joe will probably be playing with me we got the Giuliano brothers there on Thursday night.
Oh,
Okay,
that's
good.
So
great.
we got
17th.
Stealing Savannah on the 16th.
Yep.
We got Doug Church coming back in, Elvis,
Oh, that'll be
Okay.
and
fun.
his whole
Yeah.
band. Doug Church will be there on Saturday. We got Bob Pantano's dance party coming in.
Nice.
Lou Costello coming in. So a lot of great stuff. Entertainment for everybody. For everybody.
Yeah, it's a great mix and a great lineup, and it really packs them in, doesn't it, Louis? They
It
come
does.
and they just
And
come.
it's all for free.
It's
Yeah.
It's
just
all for
fantastic.
free.
I know. I know.
So people come out, right?
Yep.
Come out and
Yep.
enjoy yourselves. Enjoy it. Have
As,
fun.
yep. Like they used to say, no cover charge, no
Yeah,
cover.
right.
Not at
Right.
the Our Lady of Mount Carmel Society.
I think we said it a couple weeks ago. I think we said, "Come home to Hammonton. Just come home."
Yeah.
Yes.
Yep.
That's it.
You
Come
know,
home.
Yeah,
Come home.
and I think a lot of people are going to be coming home this year, Lou. You guys have done a ton of work. We
Yeah.
appreciate it.
Thank
Right,
you.
guys? What do you think?
100%.
Thank
Yeah.
you. Thank you for
Will
this opportunity too,
yeah.
to have
Will
this
the bishop
conversation with my good friends.
Yep,
will
go
the
ahead.
bishop walk with you,
I'm sorry.
Louis? Is the bishop going to walk the procession with you?
I believe he is. I don't know how
Yes.
long he can stay. He's fairly new, so he has a lot of commitments. But I know Father David told me that this was one of the items that he put in his calendar. We're privileged to have him, especially for the coordination and for the mass at 2 o'clock. We changed our whole schedule to make this work for everyone and to really bring attention to this uh, beautiful recognition that we've been given. It's going to be awesome. Awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you
All
so
right.
much for joining us. We're so excited for the feast week. And we'll be there. We'll be eating sausage and pepper and
I'm
meatball and
looking
roast
forward
pork,
to
everything.
seeing you. Yep.
Yep.
Thank you.
Again, thank you
And,
for the honor.
The
Thank
Thank you
Louis,
you.
privilege
for
is
the honor.
ours, Louis.
thank you so
All right.
much. All right.
This episode of the Jersey Oddcast will return in a moment, but first, a word from our show sponsor, Masterwire.
For more than 40 years, Masterwire Manufacturing Fence Company has been providing the South Jersey and tri-state area with residential and commercial fence supplies and services. Whether you're looking for quality products to do it yourself or are in need of a trustworthy fencing company to install your fence, they've got you covered. Masterwire Manufacturing Fence Company provides the highest quality products and customer service to each and every person who walks through their doors or gives them a call. Contact Masterwire at 609 567 1616 or visit their website at masterwirefence.net.
Thanks, Louis, for joining us. The following video was shared with us by the Our Lady of Mount Carmel Society as a tribute to the people, the purpose, and the power of one of South Jersey's most sacred traditions. For 150 years, Hammonton has come together each July to honor Our Lady of Mount Carmel through faith, procession, and community. What started with a simple painting and a prayer on Pine Road has become the longest running Italian religious celebration in the United States. This is more than a feast, it's a legacy, it's a miracle in motion. It's Hammonton, and now, through this video, we're proud to help tell the story.
Our Lady of Mount Carmel,
Pray for us.
in the name of the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen. And may Almighty God bless you all. In the name of the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit.
Amen.
The Mount Carmel Society was founded in 1875. One of the first Italian pilgrims that came to Hammonton paraded through their fields on Pine Road was the original location for giving thanks to the Blessed Mother for the safe trip for a good first harvest. And they did that on July 16th. They did it again, and it became an annual tradition that has continued to this day.
The feast really put Hammonton on the map. Back in the days, there would be 40, 50,000 people here on that procession. It originally started with a picture. They didn't have a statue back then, and quite frankly, there wasn't even a church in town. First church came 10 years after the feast started.
I've been in the marching since 1961, the year I graduated. I'm a Vietnam veteran. When I left, my father said, I'm going to march back here with the Blessed Mother while you're away. And while you're away, every night, which I did, you pray to the Blessed Mother and she'll get you home. And she did.
Being a part of the Mount Carmel Society is an honor. It's an honor to see all of our fellow society members give so much time and effort into this feast. The work that they put into that is just considerable, and it's unmatched.
I've been marching in that procession since 1975. My father, when he came over from Italy in around 1920, my brother was a member. His two sons are members. I'm a member. My two sons and son-in-law are members. So it's basically a big family tradition for us.
Tradition is very, very valuable, especially in this day and age when you have a lot of turmoil and a lot of conflict and people don't recognize how important it is to have a foundation and a belief and to make sure that your qualities, your goals, and your objectives have value. And tradition certainly means a part of all of that.
I brought my grandson this year, And I'm just so proud. I was watching the people in the church. It's all people like me with grandchildren. So I think we're passing on the traditions.
It's an awesome tradition that I find since I moved to Hammonton about 40 years ago. I've been participating in it in 30 years. Anything that's an Italian tradition is something that's important to me.
This is tradition. It's been handed down. I'm third generation in the club. My father's right now in the kitchen cooking. My grandfather was a member, built the building. So it's just tradition. Good family tradition.
I wasn't even a Hammonton resident until 2008. I actually became a member before I lived here. Now I've been involved with it this long, and my kids are going to be able to be here and be a part of it. The fact that it's something that we can pass down to the future generations, and they grew up with it, so they understand what it means.
It's definitely a tradition that is passed down. It's a family legacy. This is bigger than Christmas.
The excitement of having this festival it was like Christmas. It was my Christmas. I couldn't wait until that feast week came about.
We've been coming here since probably the late 50s. It's like a family here. Coming here is like coming home.
Talk about it from the time the carnival's over and the festival is done to the following year, what we're going to do, who we're going to get together with, and how we're going to meet. I think the community just loves this.
Our celebration has grown throughout the years where there's a weekly carnival, there's festivities all week long, there's entertainment, music, why people continue to look forward to our feast every year.
It's just a great feeling. It's Italian heritage. You're proud to be from Hammonton. You're proud to be in an organization that's from Hammonton. It's just a great feeling all the way around.
The food the week of the feast is out of this world. Sausage and peppers, pork with broccoli rabe and provolone cheese, long hot peppers, meatballs, pizza.
Top it off with a cannoli. Many people spend the whole week here and don't cook a meal at home. There's something to try. You could have something different every night of the week.
Mount Carmel means everything to me. It is the most important part of my life because of my family and what they brought me into recognizing the value of the Blessed Mother and the Catholic religion. The church is the first and foremost component of this organization and what it stands for.
We're the longest continuous religious celebration in the country.
So although we are independent of the Catholic Church, our faith, our family, Mount Carmel, guide our lives.
Like Father said in the homily today, it's the place, and the connection to our Lord, to Our Lady. Mary means a lot to me.
Up there on the 16th, on the procession, and when that statue comes out of the church, there is no better feeling in the world than to see that come out and the people that are there. That's why we're here. That's why we do it.
I definitely like the procession. I mean, it like I said, it has deep meaning to me and my family.
We've been doing this in my family forever. I know I've walked the procession since I was a little girl. Even when I lived up in North Jersey, I would travel down to come and walk the procession.
My earliest memory is probably just, being in a procession before old enough where your parents had to hold your hand to walk, seeing all the gathering of people, and this is our town. This is great.
We're very fortunate. We have a lot of youth that belong and do want to be a part of this society. And it's from the culture that they've been brought up in and the recognition of the values that we have as Catholics.
Ever since I was little, I would always come to the festival and just enjoy the rides and stuff, but I'm glad I get to enjoy a different part of it, going into my culture and being able to express that, as well as cut peppers and enjoy the family time that it gives me.
It means a lot to me because I look at all of these guys like my other dads. So it's just a big group of family to me, and I know I can come here and feel at home. It just brings so many people together.
The young kids today keep the faith in the family, push the kids that they have to have this belief in their heart. And as long as they have that, it'll go on for ages.
I hope it goes on for eternity, long after I'm gone. It's a good thing, and it's good for the families to get out here, and it's definitely a good thing for Hammonton.
Future generations, there's something here for everyone, so, no need to wait for when it's time. It's time now, so come out.
We have our faith. We have our tradition. We have our love for God. We have our love for the Blessed Mother. And that's why we should do what we do at this time of the year, above and beyond all other things. If only 5 people come to make that procession, that is not important. What is important is that every one of us who does meet does so symbolically to follow Christ in that pilgrimage that is our life.
That was a great video. Thank you again to the Mount Carmel Society for sharing that with us and allowing us to share it with all of you. You both have longer Mount Carmel memories than I do, but I have almost 30 years of them, and they are cherished memories from working in the Red Stand with so many fantastic volunteers helping get sandwiches together, pizza, fries, drinks, back at the corner of, I guess that would have been 3rd and French.
3rd and French. Yeah,
on the
3rd and
convent
French.
grounds. We were there for many a
Yep.
night, to watching the procession, to just hanging out and seeing everybody during the feast week, and just trying desperately to get a lemonade, but not being able to move because we're talking to people, and all those other wonderful things. What are some of your favorite Mount Carmel memories, guys?
For me, I'll start it off. I think everyone has different eras of memories, right? Because you're a kid and it's the carnival that brings the boardwalk or Hershey Park or at that time Clementon Park, whatever, to town.
Yeah.
And I grew up on Tilton Street, so I would watch the tractor trailers come by with the rides and down Tilton Street. So when you're a kid, it's that. It's first about and foremost about the rides. You get a little older. I'm a kid of the 70s and 80s. The tent with the arcade games, which we've talked about, where they have to put sawdust down on rainy days because you get sparks along with your gameplay. And we just had fun playing games like, Double Dragon comes to mind, I think, one.
And they used to have all the claw machines too.
Yeah, claw
Yeah.
machines were in there, and then the thing with the golf balls that I think a version of, I think Fascination or Fascinator or whatever, that game that was almost like part bowling, part golf ball. You got to get it in holes.
Yeah.
And the water guns, which I'm sure they still have. All the carnival stuff took kind of precedence. Then you got a little older. I was an altar boy. You walked in the procession. Heat so bad that the candle would melt on the way down, and I think I spoke a little bit of that with Louis in the brewery at at Fairview and Egg Harbor Road would have a pretty powerful smell at that point, of the summer and day. I remember one guy in Vet's Bakery. I don't know who it was, but it was the second floor. They had a screen door, and he was all in white, and he was watching the procession go by at the corner of Fairview and Egg Harbor Road. And I was walking past him as an altar boy. And I remember thinking to myself, wow, that guy just stopped what he was doing because he wanted to see the procession. And there's a lot of memories like that. And then you get a little older, you go away from it, you come back, Mount Carmel, you come back with college friends, and they are amazed because you don't move from a corner of, again, 3rd and French Street, this time on the church side, for 2 hours because everyone comes by and wants to talk and wants to see you. And then, again, you get older, the Mount Carmel guys coming by to play Happy Birthday to Me and sing Happy Birthday to Me with their band, the Carmine Pantalone Band. from when I was 30. I don't think you can. To me, I get emotional because who else has a birthday moment like that in town? Jack Marinella calling me on my birthday, me calling him on his birthday, both of us the 16th of July. That was a tradition for many years. Then they put it up on the front of the funeral home. Happy birthday, Jack and Gabe. That's a wonderful thing for me. Everything got meshed. The older I got, now it's a 150-year-old tradition. I'll be 52 on that day. And I think of my mother and the way she prayed to get me here. So my memory always is that faith works. It does work. And I think people sometimes get caught up in the cotton candy and the bright lights and the beer gardens and the bands. But for me, it's about the faith. First and foremost, my brother Frank's a priest, and he's a Catholic priest, and he's made such a difference in so many people's lives. And I think of Father Joe Capella and Father Joe Mungari and Father Bob Nolan and Father Pat Amabile, and I could go down the list. Father Tom Donio and the sisters Filippini and everybody involved there. There's a hum that comes out of the machines that you hear from the carnival that operate the swings or the big Ferris wheel.
I can hear it now. I know what you're talking about.
That
Yep,
hum,
I
right?
know
When
that
it
hum.
comes down that week. But there is a bigger hum that comes from the faithful who come to Hammonton on a pilgrimage every year, the week of the 16th and on the 16th itself. And that to me is the hum that matters the most. Those are my memories. Joe, take it away.
How the hell am I supposed to follow that?
Come on, you wrote those articles. I didn't write in the Catholic Star Herald. Tell us what you wrote about in the Catholic Star Herald.
We'll do that in a minute. We're talking about memories. And you're right, it does come in phases. My earliest memories of that week involve spending the night at my grandmother's house on the 16th of July. She lived on Packard, and Annie and Debbie and I would stay there because right from her bedroom window was a clear view of fireworks back when they used to shoot them off on, what was that, Pratt Street? They used to shoot them off from there.
Yes, Pratt. Yep.
And you could see them clearly. And that was, of course, if we could stay up until, I think it was 11 o'clock back then, they fired them off. But that's my earliest memories. And then middle school, all your friends, they go to the carnival, and I don't know what we were thinking, and I don't know what the ride tenders were thinking, but 9 of us packed into a tilt-a-whirl car, and it didn't stop spinning for 3 minutes after the ride ended. The guy actually had to come and stop the ride. And so we all got off and summarily walked across the street, vomited, and then went and got back in line to do it again. Yeah. When I was in high school, early college, I volunteered at the candle stand when that was still outside on the side of the church. And I did that for a couple of years.
Yeah.
And had some really interesting conversations with Brother Tom Portolano. Always had fun talking with Father Mike Parenti, Father Rinaldi. Those guys were a lot of fun. I used to bring Father Mike blueberries every 16th of July when he was here. That was a great time. Yeah. And then the older you get, you start to think more about the friends that you see every year. And so we would meet in this beer garden, or we would meet in that beer garden, or like you said, you'd walk and then suddenly you'd be in the same spot for 3 hours. You're like, I was going to go get a sandwich, but
What's that happening?
they closed. All right, let's go home. And then the last couple of years, I've been walking every year in the procession with the St. Anthony Abbot statue because he is the patron saint of gravediggers. His feast day is January 17th, and that was when my great-grandfather, Tony Mohawk, was born. He was actually originally baptized as Domenico, named after his grandfather, but by the time his birth certificate was filed, his name was changed to Antonio in honor of the patron saint of Gesso and the feast day. And I'd have to do some digging to see, but I would venture to guess that he was probably one of the earliest Italian immigrants to be born on that feast day in town. I'll have to look into that because that kind of stuff interests me all the time. But those are just so. Oh, of course, I think this was gone by the time you had come to town, Gina. But Gabe, do you remember Billy Reed is still alive, a victim of drug
Yes.
abuse?
Yes, absolutely.
He was
I-
part of the sideshow they used to have, along with the snake woman and everything.
Oh, okay.
We called it the freak show.
Yeah, I was
I mean,
being
maybe
polite.
that was cruel. That might have been
No,
cruel.
yeah,
But
no, he was part of the freak show.
Yeah, I remember the sort of carnival barker's call to get you in to see what happened to this gentleman. He's still alive.
Yeah,
But,
Billy Reed is still alive, a
Yeah,
victim
but-
of drug abuse, and he had like fake needles all over his arms and everything.
Oh my gosh.
It was, yeah, there were a lot of those types of sideshows. My dad, if you go further back, I remember the carnival had like burlesque shows.
I've heard about that. They were unfortunately gone by the time we were old
I
enough. to
love the
attend such things.
unfortunately. It's a damn shame.
It is.
When I'm pushing St. Anthony Abbot around that I can't suddenly then veer off and go to a burlesque show.
Yeah, I'd stop and get some Zeppeli on the way.
Yeah, why not? You get some little funnel
That's
cake.
like something that happens on 322 and not in downtown Hammonton.
You never know. But Joe, don't leave out now that we went through your memories, but you've made some new memories for a lot of people. And I mentioned Father Frank. Father Frank greatly has enjoyed reading your articles about the Feast of Our Lady of Mount Carmel. He keeps up with all that.
No.
And he mentioned it to me earlier in the week that he read your latest. What's it been like to write about this for the publication for the Catholic Star Herald?
It's a good question. It's definitely a different audience. And it's one thing when you cover local events week to week, you have a certain expectation and so forth. But when you're dealing specifically with things within the Catholic faith for the diocese official publication, there's a bit more responsibility to get it right, I think. And I've enjoyed it. And it's been a privilege seeing my byline in the Catholic Star Herald.
For sure.
And it's always a treat to me that people read my stuff. I've been writing for 30 years and I'm still tickled when people are like, hey, I read your article. Oh, cool. Thank you.
Yeah, it's every writer.
Yeah.
There is a single writer, especially people who write for publications, who doesn't love the attaboy. If there's
It's like
and if
that
they say they
scene
don't,
from When Harry Met Sally.
right, where she
Yeah.
quotes him to him. That was the thing. No one's ever quoted me to me before.
Yeah.
And then they go home together. I think, if I'm remembering the film.
Carrie
Big deal.
Fisher.
And Bruno Kirby.
Bruno Kirby, yeah.
Bruno
Yeah.
Kirby. I will, and anyone who says that they don't like the attaboy, any writer who says they don't like the attaboy is lying.
Big
That's not,
time.
yeah,
Big
totally.
time. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh no, I don't care. When you thank you, never. But that's great. No, it's fun to see your byline again in that publication has a lot of reach.
Yeah, it does. Yes, it does. And it's been fun. It's been a good time. And my thanks to everybody who's read. So
Great stuff.
I think this is a good time to do our odd poll because it is Mount Carmel themed. What is the first thing you smell when you walk onto the carnival grounds? Is it sausage and peppers? Is it the Assumption Society's clam stand? Is it the fried dough, also known as Zeppeli? Or is it just beer and nostalgia? What is the smell that gets you?
I suppose that might depend on from what side you're entering.
Oh my God,
That's
Joe,
true,
you're
too.
such a person that doesn't answer the direct questions.
That's right.
Okay, if you're
No, I
coming
know, I
in
know.
down 3rd Street from the church, you're coming from the
Zeppeli.
church. Zeppeli?
Fried anything is what I smell.
Fried
Fried
dough.
anything. Yeah.
Gabriel?
Funnel cake, Zeppeli, yeah.
I'm going to walk down Tilton Street probably. So it's going to be sausage and peppers at the Our Lady of Mount Carmel stand. Although one could easily say a close second on Tilton Street would be beer and nostalgia, especially for me because I grew up on Tilton Street. I left out another memory. We used to have an open house. Some people will remember the phrase open house on the 16th of July. And open houses now are just a term like realtors, I think, have whatever. But back then it meant you had like just set up with food of your own, right? And drink, and anyone who wanted to come in and out of the house could just come in and out. And they would do that every 16th of July.
I
And
think
then I'd
for
get a
me,
cake.
Of course you get a cake. You get 2 cakes. If your mother's baking for you, she makes you 2 cakes.
Back then, she would bake me 2 cakes. I don't know that we do 2 cakes
No,
now.
not since you have celiac, no.
Chocolate and vanilla Dunkin' Hines, everybody. Little powdered sugar on the one, chocolate frosting on the other.
So for me, when I come into the church ground, past the church onto the carnival grounds, it's the smell of the sausage and peppers. But if it's later in the week, it is definitely beer and nostalgia, just because I'm seeing people I haven't seen in a long time. It's 3 decades of memories and just this feeling of like, how do we hold on to this and keep this going so that we have it forever? Because I never want that feeling to leave, and everything that goes around with it, the sights, the sounds, the smells, and that feeling of faith. And I know that every year that we have it is a gift, and it's just, I'm so appreciative of it and for everything that the feast week has given me over the years. So excited for
Well,
Sunday and the running of the sandwiches and the kickoff and the drone show and everything that happened beginning July 14th, thanks to the society.
Ooh. One last memory, really
Of
quick.
course, you can have 100 more, Joe.
Excellent.
I can't have 100 more, Joe.
4 years ago, my daughter got married on the 16th of July, as you may
That's right.
recall.
Yes.
Yeah.
And we were setting up for the wedding in the side yard. And one of our friends was there, and it was 10 o'clock in the morning. And like the cannon went off, and you just hear boom. What was that? Oh, it's 10 o'clock. What does that mean? Welcome to Hammonton. What's going on? It'll happen again at 11. Try explaining the cannons to anybody from out of just boom. That means it's 10 o'clock. What? It's the 16th of July. I don't understand.
Listen, our dog Fenway is 8. You can't explain it to her. And
She
she's
gets
going to have a tough day.
re-traumatized every year.
Yeah, she's gonna have a tough week because there'll be 3 fireworks displays and a drone display, which won't bother her. But then the bombs going off oh my goodness! And you're right, to the average citizen. Can you imagine you just stopped in town for a business meeting?
What business is operating normally on the 16th of July?
Good point, because and let me make that point to put a full exclamation point on this thing. Anyone listening, anyone watching, do not kid yourself. It is not like this anywhere else that week. If you think to yourself, oh, there's a lot of towns that no. And there's nothing comparable, and there's nothing like it, and there's nothing the length of it. And anyone who says, oh, every small town has their little festival or whatever, no. This is 1 in a billion. So make sure you come home to Hammonton and experience it on the 150th, because it's going to be something very special, without doubt.
Yeah.
The Jersey Oddcast will return in a moment after a quick word from our sponsor, United Roll-Off.
Looking for fast, reliable dumpster service? Call United Roll-Off Service and Recycling, LLC. Family owned by the Grasso family and proudly serving South Jersey since 1999. 3 generations strong, United Roll-Off is your local solution for household cleanouts, construction debris, concrete, and yard waste, with 11, 20, and 30-yard dumpsters ready when you need them. Serving Hammonton and all of Atlantic, Burlington, Camden, Cumberland, and Gloucester counties, we've got the size, service, and local touch you can trust. Visit us at 735 Wiltsey's Mill Road, Hammonton, or call 609-561-8287 to get started today. United Roll-Off, local, loyal, and ready to haul.
Joe, if people want to look their best this summer and they want to wear their Oddcast gear, how can they get it?
Oh, they certainly will look their best if they have Oddcast gear, whether they walk around with a mug, because we got them, if they want tumblers, magnets, T-shirts, hats, we got them. We still have our exclusive running of the sandwiches design, and they can find it all at jersey-oddcast.printify.me.
Thanks, Joe. Appreciate that. It's time to find out what else is happening in the world of South Jersey. What other events are coming on? Gabe, I think it's time for the Rocco's Townhouse Community Calendar.
Gina, it is time for the Rocco's Townhouse Community Calendar. And just a reminder that Rocco's Townhouse prides themselves on being a spot where everyone can meet and eat. Delicious appetizers, entrees, burgers, and more, along with a full bar and plenty of craft beers on tap. Remember, everyone meets at the Townhouse, especially the week of the 16th. 21 North 3rd Street in Hammonton. Call them at 609 561 9384 or visit roccostownhouse.com. And now, without any further ado, here is the Rocco's Townhouse Community Calendar. Come to Rocco's Townhouse after spending the day at Cardboard Regatta at the Cove at Lake Lenape on July 19th. Brave teams of backyard engineers will brave the Cove at Lake Lenape in boats made of cardboard, ambition, and questionable judgment. Some will sail, some will sink. Spots are limited. Dignity is optional. Register today. Free to watch. The 31st annual Haddonfield Crafts and Fine Art Festival features more than 200 artists showcasing the best of fine art and craft from the region and beyond. This 2-day outdoor festival will be held Saturday, July 12th from 11 a.m. to 7 p.m. and Sunday, July 13th from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. Visit artist booths, restaurants, and shops along Kings Highway between Washington Avenue and Haddon Avenue, along Tanner Street to Euclid Avenue, and the emerging artists area on Kings Court. Learn more at www.rencrafts.com. On Sunday, July 20th at 7 p.m., there will be a Jersey Devil story event at Snouts and Stouts, 312th Street, featuring author Tony DiGirolamo. Learn about the fascinating history and tall tales of your community and practical steps to avoid being eaten by Mother Lee's 13th child. Don't forget, Saturday, July 13th will be the running of the sandwiches, drone show, and fireworks. Feast Week begins July 14th. Learn more about all events online. Gina?
Thanks, Gabe. And now it's time for our odd fact of the week. This one's actually pretty new. This is not one of my random historical facts. I was so excited to read this. There's big news for South Jersey. Filmmaker Jonathan Socker is bringing a major film studio to Egg Harbor City. With help from the Atlantic County Economic Alliance and a $1 million state grant, Atlantic Motion Picture Studios will rise up on 100 acres along Moss Mill Road. It's a huge step for the region's film industry and its economy. Soccer's latest film, Killing Mary Sue, was shot entirely in New Jersey and just won Best Picture at the LA Film Festival. Now he's turning his sights homeward. Set in a brownfield redevelopment zone, the project is backed by multiple state incentives and tax credit programs. Construction begins this year with operations expected in late 2026. As Soccer says, you never have to leave New Jersey to chase your dreams. This is just so cool, guys. His movie, Killing Mary Sue, I think not only won Best Picture, but I think the lead actress, she also won it, and it has Dermot Mulroney in it. So he's pretty, as the kids say, legit. So I'm excited for this. This could be a really nice development site for Egg Harbor City and see what springs out of it. It's going to be cool.
Joe can speak to the movie side, I think, and maybe to the Brownfield side too, but I'll speak to the Brownfields side first. We spoke about this a little while ago.
Yeah.
About how Egg Harbor City was trying to capture, obviously, commercial ratables. They were trying to go after grant money. They were trying to do things to motivate their city in a way that, oh, by the way, don't add kids to the school district because it's a commercial development and not residential housing. Hammonton can certainly take a page out of the innovative steps that Egg Harbor City, its friendly neighbor, won over from Mullica, are taking now, because I think it's this kind of thinking that we need, and not just for brownfields, but for all development in Hammonton. They're using a lot of good consideration and should be commended for what's going on there. That this seems like a real feather in their cap if it all gets built. You're talking about 100 acres and a
Yeah.
movie studio. What do you think,
Yeah.
Joe?
I was just gonna say that 100 acres, that's a large parcel, and having absolutely zero knowledge of what they plan to do with the area, I would imagine that would allow for a number of interesting on-location shots without even leaving their studio, essentially. But I think this is cool. I think this is great. New Jersey has a long, proud film history going all the way back to Edison and the Black Maria. Tom Edison, for those of you out there, and his kinetoscopes were some of the earliest motion pictures in the United States. So I think this is fantastic, and there have been films shot in and around the area, but for an actual studio, especially when you consider how many production companies have been seeking alternate states and alternate locations because Hollywood itself has gotten so expensive, which is why Atlanta for the longest time had a huge film industry, and I don't see why this can't start to rival that.
Yeah, and we also saw that at Netflix, right? They're building up in Central Jersey,
Yeah,
a
yeah.
substantial studio, I think at a former Army base, if I'm not mistaken. These things are great drivers of economic development. Was it Menlo Park where Thomas Edison did his stuff?
He was the Wizard of Menlo Park, but he was in and around the area. Yeah.
And so that's who knows what wizard may crop up in Egg Harbor City soon
Yeah.
after these 100 acres are developed. It's exciting stuff, Gina. Thank you for the report.
Yeah, no, I'm super thrilled to have this and to see what happens next for Egg Harbor City. Lisa Giampetti has expressed her excitement. She's the mayor of Egg Harbor City, and she said this is an extraordinary moment for Egg Harbor City. We have long sought meaningful, sustainable redevelopment for our Brownsfield areas, and AMPS delivers just that. This project brings local jobs, infrastructure improvements, and national attention to our community. It is a win for our residents, our businesses, and our future. So congratulations to Mayor Giampetti and to all of Egg Harbor City for this project and opportunity. And we can't wait to see what happens after this and trickles down from this project. It's going to be fun. And I can't wait to say, hey, this movie was filmed right over here. You know what I mean? It's going to be cool. It's going to be really fun to see. Joe, we are getting really close to the feast week. What is our weather going to be for the rest of this week, right before we start?
Questionable. But since you've asked, I suppose that, well, it is. Let's be honest here. But it certainly sounds like it's time for the Oddcast forecast, according to the app on my smartphone, and sponsored by Ben Castone Landscaping. Call Ben Castone for all your landscaping needs at 609 561 3452. They're here to keep your yard looking great no matter what the season. And this year, Ben Castone Landscaping is celebrating its 25th anniversary. Ben Castone thanks his customers, family, and friends for all their support and is looking forward to many more years of service. So, the weather. Let's hope that it clears out by next week because the next 3 days are, Wednesday, we're looking at a high of about 89 with a low of 71 and a 50% chance of thunderstorms throughout the day. Thursday, we're looking at a high of 83 and a low of 70 and about an 80% chance of thunderstorms throughout the day. And Friday, we're looking at a high of 82 and a low of 69 and about an 80% chance of thunderstorms throughout the day. That nice stretch of weather that we had for 4th of July weekend, we're making up for it now. I don't know necessarily that we're looking at all day things, but there's a chance of thunderstorms throughout every day for the next, 100 years, or at least the next 3 days.
Courteously.
I will say this. They might need, not that they want it, but some of these short towns might need a breather after this weekend because I heard it was just jammed down there with the weather this past weekend being so beautiful.
I stayed far away, but
Same.
if the traffic at the intersection of 206 and the Pike on Thursday going towards Atlantic City was any indication, and if the traffic on Sunday afternoon of all the on the Pike coming back from Atlantic City was any indication, there were a lot of people there.
Yeah, for
because
sure.
it was just, there was 100 cars going through every green light at least. It's just madness. So I'm glad that the merchants all up and down the seaboard had a good weekend.
I think they
They
did.
needed it. They
From what
needed
I'm
it.
hearing, I think they did. So that's great, and I'm glad and also that everyone had a good time.
Yeah.
And it sounds, knock wood, safe time too. So we didn't hear about any problems. So that's a
Yeah.
great look. I
Oh,
guess we have to offset it. Go ahead.
along those lines, did you hear that this July 4th was the first time in recorded history that there were no violent crimes or murders committed in Manhattan? And
I
I'm
didn't hear
assuming
that.
that's going all the way back to the Revolution.
Wow,
But there was no violent crime in Manhattan on the 4th of July.
that's pretty great.
Yeah.
It's a good, interesting stat.
First time in history.
That is unusual. I really don't have anything to add to that, but I will say this. If people are driving and they want to listen to our program, where can they find us on their smartphone or even their computers? How can people listen to us and find us?
For more information or for sponsorship opportunities, email us at jerseyoddcast@gmail.com. Call us at 609-444-6178. Listen to us on YouTube or your favorite podcast service, or visit our website, jerseyoddcast.com.
Thank you, everybody, and we really appreciate Lou Pantalone for joining us this week. We'll be back next week with more chaos, commentary, and community, because somebody's got to do it. See you next time.